You only need three things to pull something like this off: leverage over the politics concerning the vaccine, knowledge of a potential effective rate of the vaccine, and the ability to announce the vaccine with whatever date that you choose. And you're always going to get a reaction out of the market. That's a hell of a lot of coincidences. Welcome back, YouTube. I said I was going to track the company Pfizer, and I cannot do that properly without addressing the issue of the company's CEO, Albert Bourla, selling off stocks and pretty much taking a profit of $5.6 million. Now, we've seen actions like this before this year with companies like Hertz prior to the bankruptcy, and companies like Kodak after the COVID announcement by President Trump. Is this a similar situation? The company says through the tabloids via that this was a scheduled sell-off and that there's no foul play and it's pretty much just a coincidence. However, I'm not really convinced. Let's talk about it. So pretty much in a nutshell, the company announced on Monday that they had a vaccine that they believe is going to have a 90% effective rate. Also on Monday, the CEO and an executive VP, which we're going to talk about a little later, sold some stocks. And they pretty much said it was a coincidence and they had scheduled that stock sell-off back as far as August 19th. The VP I mentioned, Sally Sussman, also sold stocks on Monday as well at the same price of a little over $41. And this was organized via the August 19th meeting as well. The reason this is such a big deal, do you remember the company named Moderna? Moderna did something similar earlier this year as well. They pretty much made the claim saying that they are going to have the vaccine, and their stock pretty much went through the roof. They raised a little over $1.3 billion, and the company executives then in turn sold tens of millions of shares. Are we seeing something similar here? Something as emotional as a vaccine pertaining to a worldwide pandemic will always swing the markets. I know the company says that this is just a coincidence and investors do this all the time to move money around their portfolio, blah, blah, blah. I personally think this is all BS. And to give you an idea, I'm going to give you a few steps that any CEO or VP would have the information to pretty much capitalize on something like this. And they're going to do it over and over again, which is what we've been seeing this year. For starters, as the CEO, I'm sure you're briefed as far as on whether or not your company is testing for the effective rate of the vaccine. So as far as you being in the dark or just catching you by surprise, I highly doubt that. He also stated that he was only made aware of the test results on Sunday night, which is, of course, the sell-off happened Monday. But that means that you did know that they were testing. And you also chose to release the information immediately on the same day that your stocks were scheduled to sell. You only need three things to pull something like this off: leverage over the politics concerning the vaccine, knowledge of a potential effective rate of the vaccine, and the ability to announce the vaccine with whatever date that you choose. And you're always going to get a reaction out of the market. That's a hell of a lot of coincidences. I'm not buying it. I say that's BS. There's just too many coincidences stating that this was just an accident. And even if he wanted to, he could have waited. He could have moved the sell-off day, or he could have waited to after the sell-off to make the announcement. This is just way too much of a coincidence. And again, we've seen this several times this year, and I believe we're going to see it again. So more importantly, what does this sell-off mean? And in my previous video, I said that I looked at the Pfizer's companies as far as like their financials and their long-term, short-term debt assets, and they're in good financial shape. So I don't believe that this is like a Hertz situation where, okay, we're going to sell off before we sink the ship, at least not yet. And I believe that the company is in great shape. I just believe that this was just an opportunity. And even if it was the coincidence as far as like of the time frame, that could have been avoided. So this was more so of, okay, well, we're going to sell off this day so we can kind of get a little boost before we do. And again, that's, whether or not that's insider trading or scamming, whatever proper term you want to give it, it could have been avoided, but I don't believe that it has an effect as far as over the health of the company. When you see companies do things like this, you know kind of where their priorities lie, and they have that similar effect as far as for, okay, well, if they'll do this, how far will they go? So you have to watch very closely if you're considering investing in Pfizer. I'm going to keep tracking them and reporting back as well. I can see now that this is going to be a stock that I'm going to have to report on several times a week, and that's no problem. I'll make sure I do that. If you'd like to get my updates on Pfizer and other companies, please consider subscribing and leaving a like, and you'll be updated as far as when those videos come out. What are your thoughts and concerns with the Pfizer vaccine and about the CEO doing this sell-off? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to engage with you. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. We're now closing in on 1,000 subscribers, so thank you for that. I appreciate roughly all 890 of you. Thank you for watching. Happy investing, and until next time.